Self-harm was commonly reported in the teenage phase. About 1 in 12 teenagers, that's 8%, reported self-harming between the ages of 14 and 19. Cutting and burning were the commonest forms of self-harm. We recorded more girls reporting self-harm than boys. So this was primarily a sort of teenage female phenomenon, although there were male self-harmers as well.
Many people, when they're frustrated or depressed, extremely anxious, feeling trapped in a situation in their lives, they might start to, as a way of coping, start to adopt behaviours that maybe are harming and injurious to them.
But if I'm stressed or upset or anything like that, I know for a pure fact that seeing that blood and feeling the pain is just going to make me feel better.
I didn't really feel like I fit in. I felt like a misfit. I felt like I was never good enough. Described my self-harm as the crying without the tears or the anger without the screaming. It was all of those things to me.
A lot of it was about turning mental pain, emotional pain, which people couldn't see and couldn't understand too well, in something physical that I could understand, that they could understand.
Self-harm was both the release for some of the emotions that I was feeling, but it also became a very punitive way of punishing myself for how I felt about myself. I simply didn't like myself, I didn't like who I was, I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't accept anything about myself, and so harming myself was a way of punishing myself as well as releasing the tension that I felt.
Engaging with that service user in a way that begins to make them feel they want to come back to the service, whatever, in general, the NHS service. Because obviously one of the things that happens if they get a bad experience is they won't come back. I mean, most self-harmers don't go to the service, and we don't know about most self-harmers. We really, really don't. They're a hidden population, and probably more so amongst men than women. So it's really important to have an experience which is a good experience.
CBT starts off by breaking down your problem into smaller components, often trying to identify particular problematic thoughts and behaviours, and then once it's been broken down in that way, it often suggests a fairly straightforward way in which you and your therapist can intervene to promote recovery and also hopefully to learn some new techniques. But the additional point about cognitive behaviour therapy is it's highly structured. It tends to focus on the here and now and practical ways of solving your problems, rather than spending a lot of time delving into the past, although at times some of that can be helpful.
One of the things about CBT, when you go through all this, it's a very emotional experience, because when you sort of relive things, it's very, very, very agonising in many ways.